Have you ever looked at your bank account a week before payday and just thought, wait, where on earth have you ever my money go? Now imagine saying this, my 2,12,000 rupees salary would vanish by the 25th of the month, right? This isn't someone scraping by on minimum wage. This is Palaf. He's a 36-year-old professional who is taking home over 2 lakh rupees every single month, and yet he consistently found himself running completely on empty before his next paycheck even arrived. It's an incredibly relatable pain point, and today we're going to dissect exactly how a high earner falls into this trap. And honestly, more importantly, we'll look at the exact system he engineered to break free from it.
Okay, so let's dive into this journey. This explainer revolves around a sneaky little phenomenon known as lifestyle creep. We're going to trace Palav's timeline here. He's a guy who, on paper, did absolutely everything right. He took a professional risk, moved to a new city, and successfully doubled his salary. But as we'll see, doubling your income doesn't automatically double your wealth, especially if you completely lose control of your spending. We're going to unpack the exact mistakes he made when the money started rolling in, the breaking point that forced him to change, and the brilliant automated banking system he eventually built to fix the whole shebang. Section 1. The 100% salary jump.
So every good case study has an inciting incident, right? For Palav, after a decade stuck in kind of a stagnant startup situation in Delhi, making around 12 lakhs a year, he made a really calculated move to a profitable startup down in Bangalore. His CTC jumped to a massive 32 lakhs, bumping his take-home pay to 2.11 lakhs a month. Suddenly, he had more liquid cash than he'd ever seen in his life, and here is the truly shocking anomaly of his new setup. Usually, rent absolutely eats up a huge chunk of a Bangalore salary, but not for Palav. His rent was a mere 25,000 rupees a month. But wait, it actually gets crazier. That 25,000 magically included free electricity and the cost of a daily house cleaner, all paid for by a landlord who apparently lives completely off the grid. Oh, and he only had to pay a 1-month security deposit, which is virtually unheard of in Bangalore. Off the grid. So mathematically, with these super low fixed costs and a huge salary, he should be saving an absolute fortune, right?
Section 2. Falling into lifestyle creep. Well, despite those incredibly low living costs, that sudden influx of cash led straight to reckless spending. Because he'd literally never seen this kind of surplus before, he kind of lost his mind a bit. We're talking spending 10,000 rupees a month on weekend parties, taking spontaneous trips to Goa, and even dropping 75,000 on a luxury watch, paid entirely in cash. Which leads us directly into what we call the bonus trap. The sheer difference between his standard 2.12 lakh income and his February spend is just staggering. See, in February, he got a performance bonus of around 80,000 rupees. And psychologically, we tend to put bonus money into a totally different mental bucket than our regular salary, don't we? We treat it as free money to just be enjoyed rather than budgeted. Because of that false confidence, Pallav didn't just spend the extra 80,000. He completely blew out his budget, took his family on a massive road trip, and spent a staggering 3.71 lakhs in a single month. Basically, he spent 150% of his monthly income just because he got a small bonus. This reckless spending is exactly what led to the quote we started with, running out of cash by the 25th of the month. So the intervention actually came from his wife. When they realized the math simply wasn't adding up, she gave him a very straightforward prompt. She said, start writing down where exactly the money is going every single day. No more guessing, no more mental math. She urged him to open a daily Excel sheet and track every single disappearing rupee. She urged Section 3, the power of expense tracking. Now, tracking is tedious, I know, but it is a massive reality check. You literally can't fix a leak if you don't know where the hole is. By forcing himself into the daily habit of writing down his expenses, Pallav realized how tiny, untracked leaks can sink massive ships. Just look at the drop in his everyday mindless spending. When he wasn't tracking, 18,000 rupees a month bled out on random food orders. Tracking brought that down to 5,000, simply by him deciding to cook on Sundays. His random credit card swipes plummeted from 28,000 down to just 3,000. And that 17,000 a month he was blowing on random shopping, it dropped to absolute zero. And he didn't even use a strict budget. Just the psychological friction of having to physically write down a stupid purchase was enough to make him stop buying things he didn't actually need.
But there is a dark side to this method, and we absolutely have to acknowledge it. Pallav admitted that after 5 months of religiously logging every single expense into Excel, he was exhausted. Sitting down every evening with a spreadsheet to map out where 100 rupees went, look, it's a fantastic short-term detox, but it is a terrible long-term lifestyle. Tracking every penny manually inevitably leads to terrible burnout. He knew he needed a permanent fix that didn't require daily micromanagement.
Section 4, the 3-account system. Palav knew he had to transition from a manual, exhausting tracking habit to a highly automated banking strategy. He realized a very simple truth. If the money wasn't easily accessible, he couldn't spend it. So he completely restructured his banking to manage his wealth without the daily headache of Excel sheets. He calls this his 3-account system. And honestly, it is a brilliant template you can literally steal today. Step 1 is his World account. This is basically a fortress for his savings and fixed deposits. Step 1, the genius rule here, strictly no instant UPI payment access, and absolutely no debit card in his wallet. If he wants this money, he has to go through a lot of friction to get it. Step 2 is his burn account. The moment his salary hits, he transfers a fixed lump sum here for the month. This is the only account linked to his daily spending apps. Once it's empty, it's empty. And step 3 is his growth account, where funds are pushed specifically to aggressively close out his existing loans. It's logical, it's automated, and it completely removes the need for daily loans.
Section 5. Smart Debt Management Strategy.
So, with his daily spending finally under control and his savings automated, Palav shifted focus to his final hurdle, which was his existing liabilities. You know, when you suddenly have a surplus of cash, the instinct is to just throw it at whatever debt you have. But not all debt is created equal. Palav had 2 main bank loans. First, a car loan costing 22,000 rupees a month at a 9.3% interest rate, with only 2 years left. And second, a personal loan costing 9,000 rupees a month at a much higher 13% interest rate, with 37 months left. His initial instinct was to aggressively pay off the 22,000 rupee car loan, but mathematically, that is a total payoff. Because the car loan is older, most of the interest has already been paid to the bank up front in the early years of the loan. Prepaying it now barely saves him a dime. The newer 13% personal loan is the truly toxic one, where his money is actually bleeding out to the bank. Based on this math, here is the final optimized financial roadmap he settled on. First, let that 9.3% car loan just run its natural course. Don't waste bulk cash on it. Second, and probably most importantly, pause any aggressive loan prepayments until he builds a solid 6 lakh rupee emergency fund. I mean, you can't fight debt if one medical emergency is going to push you right back into it, right? Third, once the emergency fund is totally secure, use his maturing investments to hunt down and kill that 13% personal loan. And finally, to pay back a 7 lakh rupee loan he owes his family, he's starting a dedicated 25,000 rupee monthly recurring deposit that he absolutely won't touch until it's ready to hand over as a lump sum. This plan prioritizes safety first and then systematically destroys the most toxic debt. Which brings us to our final thought. The text on the screen asks a very important question. Where is your salary leaking? Palav was making incredible money, but it was just vanishing through tiny, untracked leaks and psychological bonus traps. We've seen how a little awareness and a lot of automation completely turned his financial life around in just a few short months. So I'm going to leave you with this challenge. Are you treating your bonuses like free money? Stop guessing. Find your leaks and build your own financial fortress. Honestly, look at your own bank statements tonight. You might be terrified by what you find.